Remember the days we saw purple haze. 1 and 1, and 1 is 3. Hey, hey, baby, what you do to me?
For millions and millions of workers, but of course we're not talking about school bus drivers and airline pilots, because there even Barbara Ehrenreich indicated that, you know, she was willing, she had doubts herself. Well, I want to dispel some of those doubts now by taking a look at these transportation, specifically the transportation industry, and what has happened there. Microphones, is this good? Okay. I'm going to start off, again, looking at where the transportation industry regulations that require random drug testing of all transportation workers in interstate commerce came from. And they came from a famous train wreck that happened not far from here in Baltimore in 1987, in fact. Big Amtrak crash. It was fatal. And lo and behold, it developed that a couple of the key train members, crew members of the train that was at fault, tested positive for marijuana. There was a little bit of question about the accuracy of this particular lab, but eventually it was decided indeed they had smoked marijuana at some indeterminate time before this accident. Well, this set up an uproar that led to the Congress quickly enacting regulations that forced the entire transportation industry to submit to random drug testing, not only the trains, but also people in trucking, people in the airline industry, flight attendants, even gas pipeline workers. Now, after all that had gone by, the National Transportation Safety Board finally issued a report, a detailed report on this accident. It was very curious that actually they thought that marijuana had something to do with this accident, but they admitted that it was in fact remained controversial that impairment was actually involved in this. There were clearly some other factors at work, however. For one thing, both of the two train workers at fault also had a long record of speeding and drunken driving violations that were like a dozen or so. So if there had been some better personnel oversight, that might have made a difference too. And even more important probably was the fact that some major safety equipment had been disabled or was lacking. In fact, if there had been the same equipment on the American train system as is required in all European train systems, this accident would never have happened. So it's clear that this problem could have been avoided by equipment changes. It's not at all clear that drug testing could have ever done anything about it. Well, it's interesting to take a look and see what actually did happen. You know, people, I got curious about this a few years later to see, well, you know, had we gotten anywhere from this random drug testing? And here's what I found. Okay. We're looking at human factor accidents, that is, accidents due to human causes on the railroads per million rail miles. And you'll notice there's sort of a general decline here. In fact, if you look at any safety statistics in any industry in the United States, you will find, looking over a long period of time, there's generally just a long-term secular decline. Things get safer. And you know, you might think, for instance, that in the 60s or 70s there'd be a big blip upwards if drugs were a big problem, or at the end of alcohol prohibition, you might expect to see a big blip in auto accidents or something. You don't see this. It's just a continual decline, generally, with a few little blips here and there. What we see here in the case of the railroads was, as of the time of this accident in Baltimore in 1987, there had been...
Hello. This is Patrick Moore. and greetings from Washington, D.C. We're at the normal 2000 National Conference, and I'm actually thrilled and very privileged to have with us today someone whose presence is omnipresent among the many organizations and peoples throughout the country who are attempting to bring common sense, some rationality to what's been going on in the area of drug reform. Kevin Zeese, from my perspective,